Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today I'm over at my friend Cindy's house and it was her birthday, and so a group of mine, my group of friends, we got together, picked out a bunch of plants, and I'm here to plant them in her garden for some beautiful summer color. Okay, so a few years ago, my friend Cindy and I, we got to talking and she talked about wanting to redo her garden. She had a basic builder's grade plants in place and she didn't want to waste what was here. So what we ended up doing is we ended up going plant shopping together, picking out some fun things. She gained a lot of confidence from that first shopping spree together. And then since then, she's been adding plants that she absolutely loves. And really, she's just really enjoyed the gardening process, and she loves coming out here and taking breaks during her creative work process and looking at the flowers and enjoying. She has two sweet girls and they enjoy the flowers as well. And so recently for her birthday, I thought, let's pick out some fun color and some unusual plants to put in her garden because that's something she really likes. She really likes like a Willy Wonka or a Dr. Seuss kind of feel. So really fun, interesting blooms in her space. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take y'all for a walkthrough, point out a few things that are new to this space that we put in a couple of areas and a couple of years ago, and then point out a few things that were original to the space as well. Okay, now the front of her space faces, or the front of her house faces east, just to kind of give you guys a reference. And basically, like I said, she had a lot of builder's grade stuff that we wanted to leave because it was just more cost effective, but she definitely wanted to add and be more interesting. So she had the typical crepe myrtle in the corner. She had a couple of the mondo grasses in here, some shrubs tucked back here. The loropetalums were here. We decided to come in with the little lime, or the limelight hydrangeas back here. We added two limelight hydrangeas. Back here, you can see one's actually blooming. We'll go back and check it. Mainly, we put it back there so that they would grow big and cast some privacy on the front porch. So we actually have one blooming back here. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Hers do really, really well in this space, especially with the eastern sun. So by adding those two hydrangeas, they add a really big bounce of bright color in the back with those, pale limey green blooms. And then we've also added stuff like Dusty Miller, which is a perennial in my area, and she really enjoys the blooms on here. And you can see it's starting to bloom like crazy. Then we also tucked in some workhorses for color, including she's got verbena, homestead verbena right here. And she also has a lantana tucked in here, a trailing lantana that overwintered. So that's exciting. She loves the artemisia because it's super soft to the touch. And that is a perennial and comes back every year and kind of spreads like a ground cover, which is really great. We've got your typical Salvia Gregi. Right here, which looks beautiful, comes back year after year, super easy to care for. A whole bunch of the Dusty Miller. She really loves contrast. She's an artist, and so she loves contrast and she loves quirkiness and fun blooms. Now, towards the front of her garden over here, she did a bunch of herbs that she can pull from: parsley and rosemary. She has lots of strawberries tucked in throughout the space, and you can actually see some of her little strawberries doing beautifully in the space. That looks really good. She tucked in a couple of the blue pots because she wanted a pop of blue, but it's really hard to find blue colored flowers. And so tucking in the pots and then filling those pots in with things that she loves adds that pop of blue. So then going this way, the star of the show over here is a papyrus, and it has overwintered multiple years and come back every year. It gets bigger and better. She does hack it back very severely at the end of the season, but it's a super fun plant, super quirky. It really grabs onto the wind and has a lot of movement, which is lovely. Now the loropetalum right there, and there's one over here, those were originally there. All these mondo grasses, those were originally there. We did repeat a few things, so we repeated some of the artemisia over here to make sure that we complement the other side. She added more blue pots to make sure that we complemented the other side. She has some purple salvia here. She has, this is a lantana, a perennial lantana coming back, which is absolutely beautiful. I believe this over here was an oregano that she has just let go bonkers, and it's very happy and very happy in that location, and the bumblebees absolutely love it. This was a new one she put in here, which is like a margarita daisy, I believe. She's got a couple of Shasta daisies tucked in there. It's looking really, really nice. I believe back here that this is another daisy right here that hasn't bloomed yet, but it's getting ready to bloom. But definitely, if you look at the before pictures compared to what we have now, it's so much more interesting than the original builder's grade. And this was just a really good example of how you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to add some interest to a builder's grade area. So she's just had fun putting in plants that she loves and working on them. And so what I wanted to do is I drive by her house frequently because it's on the way to my kids' school. So I wanted to bring in a little bit more color for her birthday. And so we have a few plants here. So let's kind of talk about them and place them. Okay, so I have 8 new plants to place for her. Now, I dropped these off a few days ago. Her birthday was a few days ago. Since then, we've had torrential downpour. These plants have actually gotten quite beat up. But I got them all from Homegrown in Farmersville, and I got 8 plants for less than $70. So I was very happy with that. That included some Proven Winners varieties, which y'all know that that is an amazing price. So I've got a couple of petunias here. Now, I wouldn't usually suggest planting petunias at this time. However, because of the direction that Cindy's house faces, it faces east, and it gets afternoon sun starting at noon, or afternoon shade starting at noon, it can handle it. I think it'll work really good. I wanted to bring in a little bit of color on this side, so I'm wanting to pop in a super petunia right there, and then an additional super petunia right here to spill over the pathway that she can see when she walks up to her house. The variety I have is the Super Petunia Vista Jazzberry, and it gets about 12 to 24 inches tall, part sun to full sun. And let's see, it's annual. It's an annual in our area, and it does struggle with lots of heat, but because of the amount of shade that she gets, I feel really good and comfortable about it. This guy will get really big. It has this beautiful kind of purplish pink blooms that will spill and mound out and really kind of soften some of the edges over here. So let's go ahead and get those 2 planted, and then I'll show you as I place the other one. Now today when I am planting, I'm going to be planting with rose tone because that's just what I had on hand. That'll work really, really good for flowers. And I brought my trusty Hori Hori knife to get the work done. So other than rain, the ridiculous amount of rain that we've been having, I have been battling sickness too. My husband and I have both been battling sickness, and it's been rough, y'all, real rough. So I meant to get over here several days ago and get these planted for Cindy, but between the sickness and the rain, I just didn't have it in me. So it looks like we're going to run into some roots here. So I'm just going to gingerly work around that area. She does have existing drip lines in this space that I want to be aware of and make sure I'm keeping my distance and being careful with my Hori knife because my Hori knife is very sharp and it can cut right through. And so Cindy, we did not do a lot of amending on her garden when we first planted it up. She did add some compost, she added plant tone, and then she also added mulch to the space once we started planting it up, which I think worked really well. All right. Let me get my rose tone. So I only have rose tone available right now. I've just been so busy. I haven't been able to get to the store. Then I was so sick, and then it ended up being rainy. And when I say rain, y'all, we've had a ridiculous amount of rain. And torrential downpours, flooding. It's been a lot, y'all. All right, let's get that tucked in there. And that will spread out beautifully throughout the space, which I think will be really nice and add some good contrast in here, especially with this lighter color coming in with a brighter tone like that. I think it'll work really nice. Okay, I think instead of here, I think I'm gonna aim here. Just because it's a little cramped right there and a little bit hidden by the Dusty Miller. I think right here might work better. So we're gonna aim for this area right here. And I really like, in this area, it's a lot of beautiful green, a lot of beautiful gray, and a lot of beautiful yellow. And there's some blue. I just really am missing like that pink red tone. So I really felt like I needed to add some of that to her garden space for her. And this is such a fun way to give a birthday gift. Now, Cindy does like to get out in her garden. However, she's a very busy person. She runs her own business. And so when we gave her the plants as a group of us, we call ourselves the besties. When we gave her the plants, I did offer to come plant them for her because I don't want her birthday present to feel stressful, especially if she has stuff going on. And she was traveling this week. So it made sense for me to just come and plant them for her so that she didn't have to stress about it. And so that when she got home from her trip, she had beautiful blooms waiting for her. Awesome. All right, let's place some more and keep going. Okay, working my way this way, I picked up these Proven Winners varieties, which are called Chrysocephalum, specifically Flambe Yellow. These are new to me. I've never planted them before. But I loved our little quirky ball shaped flowers, which I thought were really fun and which I thought tied in beautifully with the Dusty Miller. So similar texture and color, just a much smaller size. These only get to about 8 to 14 inches tall, and they are annual except in zones 9A to 9B. And so I thought that these would be really fun, especially tucked in some of these areas with darker colors, because you can see the Flambe Yellow right in front of the Laura Petalum, how much that pops. So I just think that that would be really nice. And I know like Cindy likes things that are unusual and interesting. And so she's an artist. And so I thought that those would be really fun. And then I know she likes her Dusty Miller with all the beautiful yellow blooms. So I thought that this would be a nice tie-in without repeating the same thing again. And it is in the morning, y'all, and I am already like baking. The humidity is insane. I forgot my sweatband. Okay, there's one. And then I'm going to tuck the other one in right here. She definitely has all the builder's grade soils. Lots of sand, clay. But this soil can be built up over time. I've certainly done that at my house. Yeah, see how that area was dark? And now you tuck this in and it adds just a pop in here. That looks really nice. Okay. So in the past, in this little corner, she typically puts annuals here, and she's had some different varieties of lantana in this area. You can see the remnants from the lantana right here. But I definitely needed a brighter pop of color, right? Because once again, we just have the green, we have the yellow, we have the pop of blue from the plants. So I wanted to come in with something fun and quirky like a gomphrena. And I needed something that could really like hold its own because I have a massive lantana growing in the back, and I've got this oregano losing its mind over here. So I wanted to go with, this is the Purple Globe lantana, Purple Globe gomphrena. It's fun, it's quirky, it's flowers feel like straw, which is super cool. When I planted this in the past, it can get up to 3 feet tall, but it will get all entwined in the oregano and the lantana, which I think will be very pretty. But you can see adding this pop of color, it's just gorgeous right here. So let's add those two first. Now, typically Gomphrena is an annual for me, but it sometimes does reseed itself. So I think if it reseeded itself in the garden for Cindy, I think that would be really fun. I think she'd be thrilled with that. That's less plants for her to buy next year. And Gomphrena just does well in so many different types of soil, including clay. And it makes for an excellent cut flower. I will say, after all this rain, the soil is so moist and easy to work in. Here's the remnants of an old plant. It's an old lantana. Use my saw some of these roots to get this out a little bit better. There we go. Woo! Look at that lantana root, y'all. That's insanity. Woo! That's an annual lantana. Okay, and finally in this spot, just had a little bit more pop of color. I want to put a vinca. Now, this vinca was beautiful a few days ago. It got beat to heck during the rainstorm. So I'm just kind of pulling some of this off. It's a bright, kind of more reddish pink color, but it got rolled like apparently down the street. So Cindy's husband was chasing them down the street this morning for me. All right, but it'll be fine. So this is also another annual, and vinca is something that hasn't done great for me in the past, but y'all have been encouraging me to plant more of it. And truthfully, I love it. I love the bright colors. I like how profusely it blooms, how much sun it can take. And so I thought I'd pop a little bit of it into Cindy's yard as well for her to enjoy. And it will recover just fine from its journey down the street. Okay, and then for this area, I'm gonna do a little bit of maneuvering. So she's got her blue pot right here. I'm gonna move the blue pot this direction with its little baby pot right here. And then right here in this negative space I just created, I'm going to be putting a perennial sunflower variety. And of course the tag blew away. So now I do not recall what it is. So I'm going to have to put it up on the screen and do a voiceover and tell y'all the details of it. But you can see back here in this kind of darker location because of the colors around it. And then a lot of foliage in this area. You can see that by adding this perennial, which perennial is always good anyway, in this space, it'll be really good to add some brightness to the space. There you go. Sweet. Okay. Might not look like much now. It's going to be beautiful. So let's walk through the space. So over here, we needed a more balanced color. So we popped in a couple of the Purple Globe Gomphrena right there and a bright pinkish red vinca, which is going to look lovely. I shifted some of her blue pots around and then added the perennial sunflower. I think it might be a Rebecca. I can't recall, y'all. My memory's not great. Then over here, I did the flambe yellow from Proven Winners, tucked into, and see how it adds a little bright spots right there and adds some contrast. Over here we chucked in a Super Petunia Jazzberry right there. And then one right there. I think it looks really nice. This area looks really full. I'd love to get her something right in there, but I think like a sculpture would be cool. That's very Cindy. Just some kind of unique garden sculpture would be lovely. Okay, y'all. That was fun. This is a fun way to give a birthday gift. I mean, you can definitely order stuff on Amazon, no problem. But picking out a few plants for your friend and then going over and planting them for them, it's good stuff. So, and it wasn't like tons and tons of work. Now it's hot, I'll give you that. It took me about an hour to get through all of this, but that's also because I'm filming. But it makes me feel good because I know that Cindy appreciates color and structure and contrast and texture. She appreciates all this. She enjoys seeing her garden. She takes mental breaks during the day and loves to putter around in her garden. Quite frequently, her garden will have lots of butterflies because she plants a lot of parsley here. So there's lots of butterflies, like swallowtail butterflies here, which is super cool. But this is a fun way to do a birthday present. And then I also want to show you there's still stuff being planted in summer. There are still things that you can plant here in the North Texas area that won't die. There's not much you can plant, but these were a few things that I felt like I could get into the ground and they were going to be just fine with all the upcoming hot weather we're going to have. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. Let me know what you think about my birthday present from my friend Cindy, and be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.